Good afternoon, all. I think you can hear me well, right? Okay. As we just mentioned in the topic, we are discussing about VAT or value-added tax in this short session. So I won't be going into the details or something about what is the technical details or other details of the VAT. We will just begin with, I'll just try to provide you some a brief limelight on certain topics which is not usually touched in any VAT seminars. So first of all, I convey you a very good afternoon to all, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And we will just move ahead slowly. And as you all know, maybe the people sitting here, I think may have already gone through the VAT implementation in their own businesses. And also maybe you have attended many seminars regarding the VAT implementation or VAT topics, etc. So as I said, I will just give a brief light into certain areas or certain topics or certain sections which is not usually discussed in VAT sessions. So as you all know, the GCC have implemented or have entered into the VAT regime recently, joining the rest of the world or nearly 169 nations who have already implemented VAT or GST all over the globe. But comparatively, as you all know, it's just 5% of VAT in GCC. And Saudi Arabia and UAE have already been implemented the VAT by this January or January 1, 2018. And within a year, other member states are to follow. So it's of high importance that you have to properly plan, make an executive plan, or we have to plan the implementation, the impact study, or the post-implementation management, etc., so that VAT doesn't become a burden on you. Actually, the VAT has not to be, does not require to be a burden on any business. So, to ensure that it's not a burden on you, what we have to do is that we have to take certain precautions or steps which ensures that our business is VAT ready. So as I said, I won't be going too much technical details of how VAT works or etc., etc. Rather than I'll focus on certain things that we have to keep in mind while we mold our attitude towards this new tax system. So as I said, GCC VAT have been implemented in two countries now, two member states. So it's only 5% VAT. So when we approach the VAT, what we have to understand is that it's not much of a financial burden or it doesn't have a much financial impact on any business, because as we all are aware that the final burden or the ultimate burden of tax, this VAT system, is upon the customers. So to ensure that the final burden or the ultimate burden is on customers, what we have to do so that our businesses aren't affected, or our businesses doesn't have the burden or doesn't have the weight of this system and doesn't incur much of the financial liabilities or fines or penalties. So what we have to do? So we have to think about it. So when we think about it, we understand that most of the problem arises from our attitude towards the system. Because people usually tend to have two types of attitudes, or three types of attitudes we can say. Some maintain a positive attitude and try to adapt and try to explore this, try to take this as a challenge, and they develop and they survive. Others, we have a negative attitude saying that this is a heavy burden on us, so maybe our businesses won't go much forward with this type of tax system in UAE or in Saudi or in GCC. So they tend to quit the business and go back to their home countries. Others have a neutral thing. They say that let's wait. This is not much of an important thing. Or sometimes this may be kept on hold. So that's a neutral, or what we say, they don't have a positive or a negative attitude towards it. So what should be our attitude towards such a VAT system, such a tax system? So we, at TASS and HAMJIT, we always urge the businesses or our clients to have a positive attitude towards this system. Because as I said before, it's not much of a financial burden or it doesn't have a direct financial impact on our businesses. So to ensure the same, what we have to do is that we have to carefully plan the implementation. First, we have to study, we have to make an impact study on how VAT impacts our businesses. Then we have to carefully plan our implementation. Then after implementation, what we have to do is that we have to do a post-implementation management. We cannot just implement and leave it. We have to do a post-implementation management. So how to do is that we have to always approach, or we have to ensure that there is it's a foolproof system, or it doesn't have any issues, or doesn't have any, there is no implementation problems in that, in what steps we take. So regarding that, we always, as I said, the ultimate burden of the VAT system is on the consumer, but many businesses incur more burden on this financially due to fines, penalties, liabilities, etc. When we analyze those cases, maybe many businesses, I know, as I am basically based in Saudi Arabia, we know that many businesses have incurred huge penalties on January 1 itself, because the government gave a clear message to the businesses that we are not going to have a relaxed mode on this. So they issued nearly 120 notices on the first day of VAT implementation, giving fines to those who haven't registered to the VAT yet. So why did they incur such a penalty? Just because that they kept an attitude that, okay, let's wait, let's see. Maybe after that, maybe after 1 month, maybe only after this year, they will be having a tough mode on citizens, or tough mode on the businessmen. But what happened is that the day one, when they opened, they had a notice on a doorstep saying that you haven't registered for VAT, so you have to pay the penalty. So it's not, it's not the tax system or the VAT system which created such a penalty on your doorstep, but it's just our attitude towards that. So that's what I said in the beginning. We're discussing about, or we are trying to give a light to you on this aspect, that it's our attitude, or it's our, it's our approach towards this system that always defines we will be surviving, or we will be incurring, or we will be going backwards. So regarding that, this, what we, as TASS and HAMJIT, or as a professional financial consulting firm, what we do in India or in Middle East is that we always support our customers to create such a surrounding or such a ambience that they have a positive attitudes to develop their business in any type of challenging situation. Whether it's a new tax system or new regulation from the government, or even if, taking Saudi as an example, there are certain regulations which totally wipes out an industry or a business area. So what we do? So people tend that, okay, let's close the business and go back. But we can train them, we can develop them, and we can adapt to the new situation, and we can again flourish in our new businesses. So saying an example, recently Saudi nationalized the whole mobile service and mobile sales sector. So the 75 to 80% of mobile sales and services were handled by expat businessmen, and especially by airlines. So what happened is that half of them just closed down the business and went back. But the other half, what they did is that many of them just changed their businesses on the spot to the computers, computer sales, computer hardware manufacturing, or maybe sales services, etc. So just shifted their businesses, they again flourished in this business. So now they are booming forward. They have much more business than usual, or much more business when they were doing in mobile area, or mobile sector, mobile sales and sector. So that's what we say. We always support the businessmen or the customers to have a positive attitude in any challenging situation, and we assist them to survive on these challenges and adapt to the new system and develop their business to the new horizons. So as we are saying, this in the GCC, this VAT system is have affected directly or indirectly every businesses, every services, and every trade. So taking those trades or services as examples, first we have to analyze ourselves, where we stand in our businesses, where we are. Have we clearly identified the impact of VAT on our businesses? Taking an example, most of us, what we tend to do is that when such a system comes, first we focus on implementing a new information technology software or a new invoicing software. But rather than many businesses neglected an area, which I would say that how the VAT affects your cash flow system, or what we say, how the VAT affects your working capital. Many businessmen didn't clearly identify that impact on the business. As you all know, the VAT works on an accrual basis. What we say, it's not a cash basis, it works on an accrual basis. So on an accrual basis system, there will be cash crunch because government doesn't wait for us to collect the tax amount from the market to pay to the government. So many businessmen fail to impact that, to study that impact on the businesses, and rather than focused on implementing new softwares, new IT, new invoicing system, etc., etc. And other thing that many have failed to identify is that to train and develop their own staff. They didn't train or develop their own staff or to adapt to the new system, to study about the VAT and how they can productively contribute to the adoption of the new system. They failed. Many didn't identify such areas or didn't give importance to those areas. So those people who have left out the core areas are facing issues now, and many have already incurred many fines or penalties. So as a professional consulting firm, we, TASS and HAMJIT, always urge you to have a financial consultant or an expert team to identify the core impact areas of a business on GCC VAT, so that they can guide you, they can assist you, and also they can provide you with such guidance that you are easily adapted to the system and you go forward without any financial burden or any hassles. So I'm just winding up my talk, the short talk, that what I again urged you, as I said in the beginning, always keep a positive attitude towards this system or any change, and take it as a challenge. Taking it as a challenge, we can develop, we can team up with, as TASS and HAMJIT, we always are on your side to study the impacts and to analyze the implementation and also do the post-implementation management. So once again, I'll just wind up saying, introducing ourselves. We are a financial consulting firm with services in India and in the Middle East, and we are proudly that we are the a knowledge partner of this Come On Kerala event, and our expert team is always on these premises to help you, assist you, and we have a counter in the expo at the counter number F12. So you can also we can be a part of your businesses so that you can easily survive on your financial management issues and all. So with that, I just wind up, and I thank you everyone for bearing me for this short period, and also thank you Gulf Madhyamam for such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.